We're here today at Sun and Fun 2010, and we have the opportunity to talk to Jackie Carlin from Piper, and she is Director of Marketing for this company that's taken on a new LSA. So we're going to go inside and have a look at the airplane later, but first I want to just ask Jackie, how's it going here today?
It's fantastic. We couldn't ask for a better event, a warmer reception, and of course more excitement regarding the Piper Sport and of course Piper Aircraft.
Well, you've got a lovely display. We, all of us LSA types here, love the fact that you got one in there spinning around. It's a primary display inside their lovely tent here. And also they've got one out on the mall. That one's covered up with people. We couldn't get close to that. We'd come over here, talk to somebody important so we could get close to an airplane. That's really cool though. We wish you all the best. And according to Russ Greenberg, he's the project manager for the Piper Sport. You think you've got some sales on the line here because of this show.
Absolutely, and of course, most important, we did our first delivery at this show, which is what we'd announced at Sebring. We said, well, we anticipated doing the first delivery at Sun and Fun, and sure enough, everything came together as planned, and we were able to deliver serial number 1. So that's just the beginning of the 75 aircraft we intend to deliver this year. 75 aircraft this year is their target. Already got number 1, more coming in, and very exciting development here for Piper.
I first saw this airplane and we did an interview with it, but it wasn't called this.
It was called a Sport Cruiser. And to Piper's credit, they picked one that fits their line very well. You could have thought they developed this. In fact, what Piper is doing is distributing this product, built in the Czech Republic by Czech Sport Aircraft, and that company has taken over from Czech Aircraft Works, which managed to get about 100 of these in the United States. So not only is the company hitting Piper, the company hitting the ground running with a new product line for them and lots of interest in it, but they're already coming on the heels of a successful product to begin with. It was a really smart move for this company. Instead of trying to design everything from the ground up, they just got right in with one that was already a proven success, one of our top 10 sellers already, and now you put the Piper Legacy brand on top of it, they got to go to town. You know they do.
And this is a gorgeous airplane. I mean, this is one of the things that we said about it when we saw it earlier. I mean, the smooth lines right from one end to the other. Really
a handsome airplane, but you know, looks are important. People do buy cars just because of the color and so forth. They are important, but it's also about flying qualities. Really, when you get down to it, it's how does this thing fly? Will it suit my needs? And I've already got some experience with the Sport Cruiser, and this flies just like that. They're making a few minor adjustments, but mostly they're leaving a good thing alone, and that's a smart move again.
So if we go back to the basics, then what type of power are they using on this airplane?
Well, they're smart again. They stuck with the Rotax 912, which, by the way, just went to a 2,000-hour TBO, so the playing field is now level between them and Continental and Lycoming. And but it also gets a great weight advantage. It also can use auto gas fuel. It doesn't make much noise. There's a number of benefits to going with the Rotax engine that powers about 80% of these airplanes. And indeed, they're just sticking with what works. A smart move on the part of the marketers there at Piper.
Now, when we're on the ground, how does this airplane handle on the ground?
Well, this one it's got pushing on the pedals down here as I answer the question. It's got both toe brakes on both sides. That's a nice feature. It's what pilots expect in the conventional world, and a lot of those guys that are selling their Piper, their Cessna or whatever and buying these now are already used to that. So it's got nose wheel, castering wheels, nose wheel, but toe brakes, which are common on lots of airplanes. For example, the Cirrus uses toe brake steering as well. It's very well established. It takes all of about 5 seconds to get used to that. Inside the cockpit, a very comfortable position here. I'm just sitting here about as comfortably as I can be. The joystick's right where I want it. It's a nice heavy joystick, or that is a large joystick, gives you a nice grip, nice foam padding on it too that you may not be able to see, but it feels good in the hand. Buttons atop the top of the joystick for all those controls, push to talk buttons, all that stuff. Very easy, don't have to move your hand too much. If I change hands now, go to my left hand, the throttle in the center is very nice. The parking brake feature and various settings that you can put it at. So inside the cockpit here, we got a nice, of course it's a dual joystick, and it's a nice fluid moving one. It's very easy to move this around, but it's a nice large grip, comfortable with a foam pad around it, so it's an easy hand while you're using it. Buttons at the top of the joystick, push to talk on the front, And then as I switch hands, this is the way you would normally do this. Throttle is right here with a nice armrest and a place to put some stuff, but the armrest makes it nice and easy to control your throttle. Here's a little difference. Instead of a twist button or something to make the friction lock, there's just a simple little switch here that pulls up, and you can't see it, your camera won't show it either, but this has kind of a notching on it down here, and that's what holds that in position. It moves, you can move it without doing that, but when you pull this back, it moves very fluidly. Trim alongside that, choke alongside that, so full choke off, back to get it all going, and then you're right in the right place. Fuel selector valve, you can see up here, left, right, very clearly marked, just like you'd see in any Piper. Above that, we see carburetor heat, cabin heat, and down in here is the flap switch and the flap indicator right in the middle. So all very convenient, easily used by both occupants. And then we got one more important thing. Just like our friends over there at Flight Design, this company puts the BRS parachute in here as standard equipment. Not an option, you get it in all of them. So now as we look at the airplane from the inside here again, first of all, ventilation. We're down here in Florida. We've got a bubble canopy on top of us. It does have a windscreen up there to keep the sun directly off your head. That's nice. And those things just slide back on a pretty day. You can see everything you want to see. But if it's warm in the cockpit, right down here, if you can get your camera down that far, I'm wiggling it back and forth so you can see it here. And there's one on each side like that. That is going to let a lot of air in, and each side can control it to their desire. Right near that, you see a little placard here that says pedal setting. And you kind of wonder what that is. Well, the seats don't adjust. They're very comfortable seats, and they've got a really nice angle. I could sit in this forever. But if there's a little handle up here that your camera won't show, it's a little kind of like a door latch handle, I feel. When I pull back on that, I'm just using one finger here to pull back on it, then the pedals move all the way back and forth over, oh, that's got to be 6 or 8 inches of movement. So you can have it way out, but the beauty of this is, as opposed to some of them, you can adjust it in flight. So if you'd like to have your legs a little further out, stretch them a little bit, you can do that without losing control. Pull the lever and they come back to you. You can have them up a little further, so people of various heights can easily adjust to this. Then we take a look at the panel here. Nice, clean execution. This is a company that knows how to build airplanes, of course. And so they're giving good instructions to their supplier in the Czech Republic. We've got the Dynon D100, D120 display in here, and I'm sure there's obviously room to put the Skyview in here as well if they wanted. We've got the very common Garmin GPS map in the center with the Garmin radio stack. This one's also equipped with autopilot, and this is from our friends at Dynon. So it's a nice execution of a Dynon Garmin panel that we see at some others, but this is just very cleanly done.
You talk about performance freaks for this. What type of cruise and stall and so on do we get on it?
Well, this airplane is going to run pretty close to the 120 knot limit at maximum continuous power. Of course, it depends on what altitude you're at, but that's true airspeed. For the actual speeds at low elevations, it's probably going to run about 115 knots, which is right up there with most of the rest of the fast ones. But one thing I remember about flying this airplane is it goes slow very well. As I look past your camera here down the wing, this is a wide chord wing, and that delivers a nice slow speed flying characteristic too. This thing will stall really slow. Okay, so a couple of features here in the back. You got a nice lower storage area as well as an upper storage area, commonly called a hat rack. They refer to it as baggage compartment A and B, and it can hold a total of 40 pounds back here, which for overnighting and so forth, that's plenty. That's a couple of 20-pound bags. That'll take you down the road quite a bit. We've got a nice sturdy handle here and a couple of handles here. When you get into a low-wing airplane, you need to be able to grab on things, and you can do that right here where you're bracing yourself. This is a real strong bulkhead as well. One thing you don't want to hang on to is a canopy. It's very sturdy and substantial, but you don't want to grab that as you're getting in, so they give you a couple places to go. Once inside, once we lower that canopy down, there's a big lever right here that moves the mechanism right behind the seats, and that clamps down on the back of that. It's with an over-center arrangement. It's going to make sure that canopy stays down nice and tight.
So if we want to get more information on this aircraft, Dan, where would we go?
You're kidding.
We go to Piper.com, and once you get there, so P-I-P-E-R, everybody's got to know that in the aviation world, Piper.com. Once you get there, you'll find this company has taken the web about as far as any company does. Lots of social networking video, as Jackie mentioned earlier, lots of videos just like the one we're shooting. Great way to get educated, not only about this product, but the whole Piper line. And here's a company that goes all the way from Piper Sport to Piper Jet and everything in between. So it's a full line company now, and we're really glad they're in the LSA space.